2010, I went to a summer camp called Camp Ernst that my parents signed me up for. Thankfully, it was with my best friend Keith, so I wouldn't be going there not knowing anyone. The camp was for 2 weeks, and it was the typical setting you would expect to see in those old summer camp horror movies like Sleepaway Camp. There were 2 big cabins where the girls and boys slept respectively. There was also a big lodge-type building with an activity center, dining hall, and other amenities, and then various other smaller buildings scattered throughout the camp. Keith and I stayed up later than all the other kids because we wanted to play on our Nintendo DS's together. It was reaching the deep hours of the night, past 2 a.m. We were still playing DS together. That's when the door to the cabin opens. Panicking, we both threw our DS's under the pillows and pretended to be asleep. Footsteps moved around the room, from Keith's bed over to my bed. Then the footsteps stopped at my bed, and for a short moment, I felt the ever-so-soft feeling of someone breathing down my neck. Then the footsteps moved away from my bed and back to the door, before the door shut. I looked over to Keith and said, "That was scary. Especially since whoever that was breathing down my neck." We went back to playing on our DS's. That's when I got a text message on my phone, which read, "Why are you two still up?" Those of us who had cell phones were given a list of phone numbers of the camp counselors who we should call if something were to happen. But that number didn't belong to any of the counselors. Not that I knew of, at least. I texted back saying, "Who is this?" They never responded, though. I told Keith, who didn't have a cell phone, and he was just as freaked out as I was. Obviously, it had to be a counselor. Or so we thought. So we went back to playing on our DS's with the screen brightness all the way down. We both heard the back door to the cabin open. We looked at each other and once again threw our DS's under the pillows. There were no more footsteps, though. Suddenly, my phone vibrated. It was another text message from the same number. It said, "It's Counselor Tony. Come outside to the back of the cabin. I have something to say to you." I told Keith, and he said it sounded way too suspicious. Then we both wondered if whoever this Tony person was the one who just opened the back door. I got off the bed and took a few steps to the center of the room, where I could get a view down the hall to the back door. There was no one in sight, so I walked down the hall a little bit. Keith didn't approve. When I got closer to the back screen door of the cabin, I realized there was a little section of wall that caved in, and in that little opening, there was someone hiding. I got a little closer and realized it was not a camp counselor, but some really old, creepy-looking man who was about the same height as me. I ran back to my bed screaming help, waking everybody up. It was at that moment that I heard the back door slam shut. A camp counselor came rushing inside through the front door, and I told everybody what just happened. The counselors went around the whole campsite, searching the perimeter for anyone matching the description I gave. It was a big place surrounded by forest, though. It would be impossible to find someone. What still doesn't make sense to me is how that man got my phone number. My best guess would be he somehow found a list of phone numbers that the counselors had made. But how did he know who I was? I still dream about this experience every now and then.